Prehistoric mammals have always interested me the same way as dinosaurs do. I do like the modern day counterparts, but I've always found the ancestors or cousins or relatives of the modern day mammals more fascinating, mainly because they're a rather unusual and a bit of an oddity. And for the most part, they were like gigantic versions of the modern day counterparts. I have decided to do a top 10 video on my favourite prehistoric mammals, and yes, most of them appeared in Walk with Beasts, but two didn't. Well, for one of them, sort of. You'll see what I mean when I get to it. So, without further ado, this is Dragonzilla's Top 10 Prehistoric Mammals. Number 10. Entenodont. This giant rhino-sized warthog lived during the Oligocene period between 45 and 25 million years ago. Now this brute was an omnivore, which meant he could eat either plants or meat, but for the most part he was a scavenger. It was literally no eating in peace, because if you were like a carnivorous hyenodon, as soon as you made a kill, this guy would appear and would chase you off and steal your lunch, and he'd be like, "It's mine now, bitch!" These creatures were also their worst enemy, because they would fight out, and the loser would have deep infected wounds, as we can see on this picture. And fossils have been found with those scratch marks on the skulls. And when I say scratch marks, I mean teeth marks. Number 9. Ambulocetus. From 50 to 49 million years ago. This guy might look like a primitive form of crocodile at first, but although he may not look like it, he was actually the distant ancestor of whales. In fact, interestingly, Ambulocetus means walking whale. You know when a whale gets beached up after a storm? Well, if it happened to this guy, no problem, he'd just walk back into the sea. Well, actually I take that back. Ambulocetus did not live in the sea, but it did live in lakes and rivers. His diet was mainly fish, small amphibians, and primitive horses, which were the size of dogs at the time. He did not have ears, so when he was on dry land, he would put his jaw on the ground and use it to detect vibrations. Ambulocetus represents the missing link between land and sea. Number 8. Arsinoitherium. From 36 to 27 million years ago. This double-horned giant may look like a rhinoceros, but he actually lived in the swamps and marshlands like the hippopotamus, but he was related to neither. Arsinoitherium was actually related to the elephant, despite looking like a rhino and living like a hippo. Now, Arsinoitherium did not appear in Walking with Beasts, but he did appear in the Walking with Dinosaurs spin-off, Walking with Sea Monsters with Nigel Marven. And since then, this guy has been appreciated more. The horns of males were more spread out, almost covering the eyes, while the horns of females were more slimmer and a bit smaller, unlike the males. Fossils of this guy have been found from Egypt to Angulo. I think that's how you pronounce it. Number 7. Deinotherium, from 20 to 2 million years ago. The name Deinotherium means terrible beast. Now, what else has been known as terrible? That's right, dinosaur means terrible lizard. So when the fossils of this creature were found, he must have been a reminder of the dinosaurs, and so that's why he earns the name Deinotherium, terrible beast. Deinotherium might have looked like an elephant, but he wasn't related to the elephant, nor was he related to the mammoth. In fact, he was a creature known as a Protocidian. What makes this guy unique are the strange fan-like tusks on his chin. They may have been used for stripping down barks and leaves from trees. Despite being a plant eater, Deinotherium was very intimidating and a very aggressive beast, so if you were an Australopithecus and you were in his territory, you were screwed.